Hi, it's Jnwynn with Scraptastic Yarns Podcast. Today I wanted to do my Jimmy Bean unboxing, and also talk about a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank Melanie from Stitch to My Lou, Kayla from Llama Mama Kayla, and Cindy from Cindy Hearts Crochet. These fine ladies sent me Valentines, and of course the slacker that I am, I haven't sent anything like that out. I have to get my game on. But Cindy also included some Valentine's candy, a little Valentine's card, an eraser, and a pencil. Now, when my husband saw the candy and the pencil, he's like, "Oh, mine!" I don't know if many of you know, my husband teaches geology at our local university. He's a professor. He does research. He loves using pencils. His secretary, the other woman in my life, she's now retired, but I call her the other woman as a tease. She every year gets him a set of some really nice pencils, but he likes getting these pencils because he puts them in a box and allows the kids to use them when they need them. But these good pencils they don't get. Now, I don't know if I've ever told you about the other woman's story, but I guess now that I've mentioned her, I must tell you. My husband's secretary, or past secretary, of the department where he's at the university, retired for quite a few years ago. But twice a week they have met for coffee for years. So when she retired, they continue that meeting twice a week for coffee. I have no problem with that. Now, the reason I've teased and call her the other woman is in my knit and crochet group, which she comes to, the gals were asking me I think it was like in May, close to Mother's Day. My mother-in-law's birthday is in that month, and we always go back for that for her birthday because it's Mama. But the girls were asking me, "So when are you guys going in?" And I said, "I don't know. I've been asking Thomas and asking him. He just, he hasn't given me a date yet, so, I'm not real sure." So Thomas's ex-secretary pops up, "Oh, you're going in on the 18th. And I answered with, "Well, isn't that great? He tells the other woman before he tells me." Now, it's a joke between his secretary and I that she is the other woman. But it was so funny because she is a devout Catholic. The look of horror on her face that I had called her the other woman in front of these other ladies. We all had a good laugh about it, and I teased her. I said, I know there's nothing going on. I'm fine with that. I just, it just popped in my mouth and out it came. So we tease. We now call her the other woman. My husband, since then, because she was so upset the next time they met for coffee, he makes sure I know before she does when we're going into North Carolina. So yeah, that's a little funny. The other thing I wanted to talk about, there's a couple of things. Melanie was Stitch to My Lou, and also Brenda from my Pugiful life. They do Zoom chats each week. Melanie's is on Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's my time. So that's, it works out really well for me. Although I haven't been the past couple of weeks because I've had things, I've been doing. So I just haven't joined in with that. The Zoom meetings are for anyone. They're for viewers, they're for other podcasters, they're for anyone who wants to join in on the conversation. There's a lot of fun, there's a lot of laughter, there's a lot of teasing among us podcasters, each other. So, but you're more than welcome to join. Any viewer is more than welcome to join. Brenda's is on Thursday afternoons at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, which I believe that makes it noon for Eastern Standard Time. I might be wrong. Yeah, I think it's noon. I just haven't been able to meet that one because I've had some obligations that I had to take care of. But please, everyone join in. The only thing you will need to do is you will need to go to zoom.com and you will need to download the program onto whatever device that you want to join in on. There are some settings you need to do in your computer, iPad, phone, so that your voice can be heard if you choose, and so you can be seen visually if you choose. You do not have to be seen or even be able to hear what's going on when you join these chats. You can make yourself to where you're just a silhouette picture and mute it. Off to the side there will be a chat that if you want to chat, you can ask questions, whatever, but you never have to talk. You never have to be seen if you so choose. I know Cindy Kinney has been joining, as well as Dee Thompson, and I can't remember the other lady's name, but she's joined. I have to go back and look in my notebook later to remember her name. But if you want to join in on these chats, come on in. You're more than welcome. Like I said, the only thing is you do have to download the program. You do have to make yourself a username. It's just like anything else. It's just an additional thing. But then you're also able to have Zoom meetings with family members if you choose. It's kind of like Skype. My family used Skype because my grandson was in foster care in Idaho, which he still is in foster care. And it was a way for us to talk with him, see him face to face as he's grown. Now my grandson and I still do FaceTime as well as the Skype every once in a while. Now we're more just talking to each other on the phone each week, talking by email all the time. So, and this is my grandson that my daughter, who's passed away, had. The father had taken him to Idaho, and he lost total custody, parental rights of my grandson because he was doing some drugs. He was huffing, and he got caught. My grandson got put into foster care. At that point, we started trying to get him into our family, and it hasn't worked out. Here in Pennsylvania, they've determined that I have too many health issues, so I couldn't take him. My one son in North Carolina could not take him because he's gay, and North Carolina wouldn't support that. The other son that's in Texas, there were some issues with a past domestic charge, so no one would let him take my grandson then. And then my other son, because of Florida's rules about sexual predators, I'm going to be honest, he is listed as a sexual predator because he was at a party that was out in the woods. He had to go pee. He peed. And there were minor children there. 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And he was 19. And he got caught. So now he is listed as a sexual predator. That is my one problem with that rule. I think there always have to be circumstances dependent with that. So, of course, because he has that charge on him, sexual predator, he could not take my grandson as well. Big mess. And then I have 2 other grandchildren that are in foster care in New Mexico. They were my daughter's children. About a year and a half after my daughter passed away. No, I guess it's 2 years, 2.5 years. Just recently, about a year and a half ago, their father chose to commit suicide. He had a lot of PTSD issues, and he would not open himself up to a lot of people. So now those children are in his cousin's family, who's a pastor, but they're still considered foster children in the state of New Mexico. So, big, long, little bit about me. But, join in on the Zoom, guys. It's great fun. I'm going to show you the back of my Jimmy Beans. There is a reason that I put some washi tape on it. I cut it just before I decided to film this. And I thought I needed to show you guys where the pattern was. And I'm going to show you now. You can see where I cut. I cut right where it was joined. Figuring yarn's way inside the bag. Pattern 2. That is where the second part of the pattern was. It never got into the bag. I have already sent Jimmy Beans a message because I was very upset about this, along with a picture. So, even though I don't like this pattern, and the reason I don't like this pattern is, I think a lot of people have already told you in the pattern, it tells you that you need to stuff it with something, and extra blankets are a good choice. But it also shows a picture of someone sitting on it. So I don't know if this is closed entirely or if there's a flap. We don't really have a whole lot of extra blankets. Quilts, yes, but I wouldn't put my quilts in there, store them in there. I do tend to store them a little differently. They're heirlooms. I don't store them haphazardly. But since I don't know if there's a flap yet for this, I'm not going to stuff them with the few blankets that we do have. We might need them. We have electric heat. And I hate electric heat. It's very drying on your skin. Also, everything about this apartment is electric. Goes out, we got nothing till it comes back on. So I don't want to use my blankets in that for that. So those of you that are getting Jimmy Beans, please be careful when you open your bags, just in case your pattern was put the same way where mine was. And here are the colors of the yarn. I'm not going to take them out. They're awful pretty. There are a lot of pinks, blues, some light mint. And of course this is the sheepies. Cotton and where is it? It is a cotton, and it's 70% cotton, 30% acrylic, in those small little, what I call bonbons. I mean, that's what it reminds me of, is the Lion Brand bonbons. And of course, you can get those nice big packs, or you could, you know, of 30, 50, something like that in Hobby Lobby. So, yeah. But they're pretty pinks, blues, greens. A couple of peach colored. And there are, again, about 18 balls in there. So I'm going to stick that back in there. Put the pattern back in. This is the second part of the pattern. And another reason I don't like this is it tells you these notes. The poof is worked with 2 strands held together throughout in the 3 sections. It tells you how to do the stitches. It tells you stripe pattern, you know, color A, color B. And then they give you a list of the color A, color B. But you just got to decide where you're going to put. And of course, you know, I'm thinking all those loose ends. I'm going to do something with a lot of loose ends. Not so sure I want to hold it double. So, yeah. There was one last topic I wanted to talk to you about. Anna of Adventures of Anna has already done her Flash Your Stash Yarn Challenge tag, and I had commented on it. The statement I had was, I don't know if I wanted to do this because I'm a little embarrassed by all the yarn I have, because to me it's almost like hoarding. And I had gone in and looked at my emails, and I had a couple of emails that were, as Crystal of Bag O'Day talked about her yarn in her comments, you know, section, the little video she did the other day. There's some haters, and they had made some awful comments, and some of those comments were, you know, people like you should feel guilty for having all that yarn. I don't feel guilty a bit, folks. I'm just going to put this out there. The reason I felt like I was embarrassed by this is not because I feel guilty about how much yarn it is. It's because it's all over the house. And it does cause some stress. So, you know, I had looked at, I want things brought down to something that's a little more manageable. Yes, I will be doing that Flash Your Stash tag challenge. But right now, upstairs in the bedroom, where a lot of that is stored, I have clothing that is right in front of it, and some other things that I'm going through, determining what to keep, what to send to Goodwill. But I'm going to put this out there. I don't feel guilty a bit about having the kind of yarn that I have. I have been hoarding this yarn for close to 25 years. There were times when I was lucky if I had one skein. I am also the type of person, you know, I have what we have nicknamed at the centers the Baby Beanie Brigade, that we make the beanies for the babies. I make also fetal demise pouches, sewn, crocheted, and knitted. I haven't shown you those, and there is a reason I haven't shown you those. It's because it's a difficult topic to talk about. When someone gives birth to a baby they were looking forward to having, and the baby dies in utero or dies shortly after being born. It is a difficult thing for some of these families. It's also difficult when someone has a miscarriage. That's what the fetal demise pouches are for, so that the family chooses to have a remembrance. They can either bury their baby, and it's baby to them. It's not a fetus. They can bury that baby in that, or they can choose not to. We can present the baby to them in it, so they're not engulfed in a huge big blanket. But a lot of that yarn goes for that. Also with the Baby Beanie Brigade, many times I will take $40, $50 worth of yarn down, and I will tell the girls, take what you want, but it has to come back in the form of A, a baby beanie, something for a baby, or 3, something for prayer shawl, blanket, shawl, sweater, whatever, but it's got to come back in that. And the reason I put that stipulation on that is because we do have one lady that is known for when items come in, she will take things, but she never makes anything, turns it back in. She actually has a hoarding problem. So that's why I make that stipulation, because that is the one time she will not take anything, because I do expect something back with it to go for babies, prayer shawl. End of story. When I take cotton yarn in that is approved for knitted knockers, I want knitted knockers. If you're not going to do it, don't take the yarn. And that is a lot of that yarn. When it first was brought in, $100 worth out of my pocket. Now, we've been lucky. When I do the prosthesis ministry, when I hand those out, it doesn't matter if I send them to Knitted Knockers organization or whatever. The Lord makes sure that I'm provided, or the ladies that are knitting for me, crocheting, that there is money to purchase more yarn for that. You know, we lift that up every month so that it is taken care of. So, do I feel guilty? No, not a bit. I don't think anybody who has a lot of yarn should feel guilty. I will tell you, I have done random acts of kindness for different people around the country that I know of, and a lot of places that are, folks that, and I have folks that write to me and tell me that they're having, problems, and I contact them back, and generally I ask them, what would you like? What do you need? If I have it in my stash, I box it off, I send it. That's not to say every one of you needs to contact me, because I do ask the Lord to put it on my heart whether that is someone who is really in need. Because there's a lot of scamming going on around there these days. So, yeah. But I don't think Crystal should feel guilty for the amount of yarn she has. She loves yarn. I love yarn. Like I said, the only thing is I feel stress because I have so much and I cannot use it all. But mainly my stress is because I don't know what I have. So that is where, when I get into that Stash Your Flash challenge, I am going to show you what I have done in order to get a handle on what I have, where it's at, so I know where to go to when I'm looking for something for men or whatever to make. Also so that I know, let's say I need red yarn. I know where they're at. I know where my DK is. I know where my bulky is. That kind of thing, so that I know now where things are and what I have available to me. And that's not to say that when Prayer Shawl, when they have sent out, and they do occasionally, we do get a message about, the yarn is low. Luckily, that has not happened the past couple of months. Someone passed away that used to make a lot of plastic canvas, and they had a basement full of yarn. So, we do have some yarns. We also had a woman who inherited a house, and when she went to the house, there was a ton of yarn. Most of the realtors in this area know about the Prayer Shawl Ministry and what they do. And a lot of those realtors, like with this one lady, she had said to the realtor, "What am I to do with all this yarn?" Realtor said, "I have an idea." And so it got passed on to us. And of course, anything that was in there, like sewing related items, if we needed it for the quilters, we were allowed to take it for the quilters at the fire hall. So we kind of work hand in hand to keep each other covered. But when they put a call out that, donations are low, yarn is low, yeah, I do go into my stash and I pull from that stash, take it in. So almost everything that I purchase goes to charity. Very rarely do I keep anything. I did keep my Sonora shawl. I do keep the shawls, items that I make out of the very good yarn occasionally. Sometimes I do, if I do know the person that I'm making an item for will, follow the instructions I send with how to care for the item, then I will make it and send that on. So, yeah, if you have a lot of yarn, don't feel guilty. If you don't have a lot of yarn, it may be due to your budgetary needs, or it may be that you're like Gypsy. Just doesn't, she plans for projects and that's what she does. She doesn't have a large stash. There are a lot of people that work that way. We know I'm not monogamous. We know that I have to have a little here, a little there, got a project here, project there. So yeah, I'm not going to feel guilty. And if you have a lot of yarn, I don't think you should feel guilty for having it. So I hope that when I do flash my stash, that I have provided you with an idea of how to keep track of your yarn so that you know what you have on hand. And so you know that when you go to the store, you're not going to buy another skein of it because you've got 6 at home. So with that, I will see you again soon. Tuesday is another day for filming, and I will film my normal weekly podcast then. So everybody, remember, have a great week and choose to be kind.